In this lesson, we will explore the chemistry of carbon compounds. It is generally aimed at students in the 8th or 9th grade. Much of the information is included in physical science textbooks used in California middle schools. Carbon compounds are called organic compounds. An organic compound contains both the elements carbon and hydrogen. Organic chemistry is the study of organic compounds. All living things are composed of natural organic compounds. Organic compounds that are man-made are called synthetic organic compounds. Many organic compounds contain other elements in addition to carbon and hydrogen. The most common are nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus and sulfur. Carbon is a unique element with 4 valence electrons. Valence electrons are the electrons in the outermost shell of an atom. Carbon has 4 valence electrons, which it shares with other atoms to form what are called covalent bonds. In this diagram, the valence electrons are shown in green. Methane is the simplest organic compound. Its carbon atom's 4 valence electrons are shared with the valence electrons of 4 hydrogen atoms to form 4 single covalent bonds. Methane is a gas. It is the main component of natural gas. The 2 carbon atoms in ethane share 2 valence electrons with each other, while 3 hydrogen atoms form 3 single covalent bonds with each carbon atom as shown in this diagram. Ethane is a gas at room temperature and is an important compound that is used to manufacture other compounds.
Another unique property of carbon is its ability to form double and triple bonds. Ethylene is a gas that has a double covalent bond between the 2 carbon atoms as shown in the diagram. Ethylene is sometimes used to stimulate the ripening of fruit. However, its main application is to form a large molecule called polyethylene, which is used to make plastic bottles. To form a triple covalent bond, 6 valence electrons are shared by 2 carbon atoms as shown in the diagram. The compound formed is a gas called ethene, which has the common name, acetylene. Acetylene is mixed with oxygen to create a very hot flame that is used for welding metals together. Chemists use different visuals to show how the atoms are arranged in a molecule. The chemical formula shows the number and kind of atoms in a molecule. The chemical formula for propane is C3H8. Structural formulas are used to visualize the position and arrangement of the atoms in a molecule. This diagram shows the structural formula for propane. Carbon can form covalent bonds with multiple carbon atoms to form various shapes including long strings called chains of carbon atoms. They can be short, long, or branched. Ethane has the shortest chain. Octane, the main component of gasoline, has 8 carbons in its chain. Polyethylene can have thousands of carbon atoms in its chains. Carbon also forms covalent bonds with other carbon atoms to form ring structures. The compound benzene forms a 6-membered ring as shown in the diagram. Benzene is obtained from the tar formed by the controlled burning of coal. Many other natural and synthetic organic compounds contain the benzene ring structure. Another compound with a ring structure is glucose, a sugar that is present in human blood. Many other types of sugars are based on the glucose ring structure. Aspirin, a common pain reliever, has the basic benzene ring structure, but with other groups attached to the ring.
Molecules can adopt many shapes. The 3 most common shapes are tetrahedral, planar, and linear. Chemists use molecular models to show the various shapes. The tetrahedral type is shaped like a pyramid with single bonds around each carbon atom. This model of methane shows the tetrahedral shape. In the planar shape, all the atoms lie in the same plane. Ethylene is an example of a planar-shaped molecule. All the atoms are arranged in a straight line in linear-shaped molecules. Ethene, commonly called acetylene, and carbon dioxide are examples of the linear type. Molecules that contain only carbon and hydrogen atoms are called hydrocarbons. These molecules have only single covalent bonds between the carbon atoms. They are called saturated hydrocarbons. Methane, ethane, propane, and butane are among the simplest hydrocarbons. Molecules that have at least one double or triple bond between carbon atoms are called unsaturated hydrocarbons. Ethylene and propylene have one double bond. Butadiene has two double bonds. Ethene has one triple bond.
Substituted hydrocarbons are organic compounds that contain groups of atoms that replace one or more hydrogen atoms in a hydrocarbon. These are called functional groups, and they may contain atoms such as oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, or phosphorus. The most common types of functional groups are hydroxyl, carboxyl, and amino groups. A hydroxyl group contains an oxygen atom and a hydrogen atom covalently bonded to each other. These are also called OH groups. A hydrocarbon substituted with a hydroxyl group is called an alcohol. Ethanol is a common solvent used in industry and is also a major component of wine, beer, and other alcoholic drinks. It is the functional groups that change the physical and chemical properties of compounds. For example, replacing a hydrogen atom in propane by a hydroxyl group produces 2-propanol, commonly called isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol. Propane is a gas that does not dissolve in water, but isopropyl alcohol is a liquid that easily mixes with water. The properties are changed by substituting the hydrogen atom with a hydroxyl group. The carboxyl group is another important functional group. A carboxyl group has a carbon atom, 2 oxygen atoms and a hydrogen atom. The carbon atom is covalently bonded to one of the oxygen atoms with a double bond. Compounds with a carboxyl group are called carboxylic acids. Acetic acid, the main ingredient in vinegar, is one of the simplest carboxylic acids. The amino group contains a nitrogen atom covalently bonded to 2 hydrogen atoms. Unlike carboxylic acids, compounds with amino groups are bases and are called amines. Fish contain amines, which are responsible for their distinctive smell. Many drugs and vitamins also contain amino groups. This chart shows a summary of the 3 main functional groups along with examples. The hydroxyl group is present in alcohols that have the suffix OL in their names. Carboxylic acids have the suffix OIC in their official chemical names. Ethanoic acid is an example, although it is commonly called acetic acid. The NH2 group is called an amino group and compounds with this group are called amines.
As we said previously, the molecular formula gives the number and kind of atoms in a molecule, while the arrangement of atoms in a compound is called the structural formula. Another important type of organic compound is an isomer. Compounds that have the same molecular formula, but a different structural formula are called isomers. As shown in these diagrams, dimethyl ether and ethanol are isomers. They have the same molecular formula, C2H6O, but different structures and different properties. Dimethyl ether is a powerful anesthetic that was used in the past to sedate patients for surgery, while ethanol is found in all alcoholic beverages. Compounds that have both a carboxyl group and an amino group are called amino acids. Glycine is the simplest of the 20 common amino acids that occur in nature. Amino acids are the basic building blocks of proteins. Polymers are very large molecules made up of many smaller molecules bonded together. The small molecules that are used to create polymers are called monomers. Polymers form when covalent chemical bonds link large numbers of monomers together in a repeating pattern. Polymers can be thought of as chains of many paper clips connected together. In fact, chemists often call them polymer chains. Each paper clip would represent a monomer molecule. When 2 different monomers combine, they form what is called a copolymer. Polyethylene is widely used for plastic bottles, containers, and bags. It is made from the monomer ethylene. There are thousands of ethylene monomer units in a typical polyethylene material. Nylon is a copolymer formed by adding one monomer with two diamino or NH2 groups to a second monomer with two carboxylic acid groups. It is used for stockings, clothing, carpets and many other products.
Proteins are long-chain polymer molecules formed by connecting amino acids together. The 20 common amino acids that appear in nature can combine in various ways to make different protein molecules. This diagram shows an example of a segment from a simple protein molecule. Proteins are also known as polypeptides. Proteins are made in human cells by a process involving a complex molecule known as deoxyribonucleic acid, commonly called DNA. As shown in this diagram, DNA is composed of two long polymer molecules with 4 different bases and a sugar phosphate backbone. The bases are known as adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. They are arranged in various sequences and held together by hydrogen bonds in a structure known as a double helix. In the growth of living things, DNA directs the amino acids to combine with each other in a specific sequence to produce the desired protein for each organ. For example, the protein collagen makes up skin, while hemoglobin is the protein in blood that carries oxygen to our cells. Other proteins cause muscle tissue to contract. They can also fight viruses and bacteria that invade us. In summary, organic chemistry is the chemistry of carbon compounds. All living things are composed of organic compounds. Organic compounds can be either natural or synthetic. Organic molecules can range in size from very small like methane to very large such as proteins, DNA, and many synthetic plastics. This presentation was produced as a public service to help middle school and high school science teachers develop experiments and demonstrations that can be used in their classrooms. More science experiments and demonstrations are available on the Tops of Santa Clara Valley website, www.topsofscv.org. TOPS or Teaching Opportunities for Partners in Science is a program aimed at stimulating greater interest in science by middle school students.